Okay, so we are going to read in the Manual for Teachers in A Course in Miracles. And this is part 5, How is Healing Accomplished? Healing involves an understanding of what the lack of, or what the illusion of sickness is for. So I guess the illusion of sickness has a purpose. Healing is impossible without this understanding. The perceived purpose of sickness, part 1. Healing is accomplished the instant the sufferer no longer sees any value in pain. That's interesting. There's value in pain. I guess we like it. I know I always return to my craziness, so it makes sense. Who would choose suffering unless he thought it brought him something and something of value to him? He must think it is a small price to pay for something of greater worth. For sickness is an election, not a decision. It is the choice of weakness and in the mistaken conviction that it is strength. When it occurs, real strength is seen as threat and health as a danger. Sickness is a method conceived in madness for placing God's Son on his Father's throne. God is seen as outside, fierce and powerful, eager to keep all power for himself. Only by his death can he be conquered by his Son. So the tricky part about A Course is it points to a bigger reality, or maybe the real reality that's outside our physical world that we think we're in. I think I'm in this physical world where Jevon is in a body, and Jevon, the body, is talking to Kristen, the body. And here we are. And when things are good, it's because the body's good. And when things are bad, it's because the body's bad, or it's not getting what the body wants. And so in that world, the crazy thing about the ego is the things that are valuable are the things that confirms this little separation world that I've made are real. And so one of the best ways to confirm that your body is real is the belief that it can die. And, they don't want it to die all the way, because then you got to start over with another body. So a good way to confirm that the body is real without actually dying is to be sick. Because what could be sick unless it's real? It's like, of course it's real. It's sick. Look at all the suffering I'm in. And so we get distracted from these bigger things. And what are the bigger things in life? Well, the bigger things in life are the things that we don't have to achieve. It's the community. It's love, patience, peace, joy. It's contentment. It's creativity. It's that non-physical stuff, but it's so hard to be non-physical when you think you're in a body. It's really difficult, right? You think, I have rent to pay, I got a mortgage to pay. I got, my kids are going to get kicked out of their private school, or my kids need these things for a regular school, or, car payments and grocery bills. And so then I need an income. Like, well, how do I get an income? I don't know how, on and on and on it goes.
Yep.
And I can't do all those things that I need to do because my body is, whatever, we're sick. And even if you're not sick, you went through cancer, that's a big one. But even if we're not sick, the body still has limitations. I just quit my job, and so now nothing is coming in as regularly as it was when I had a paycheck. And so there's a bunch of fear and anxiety around what's going to happen. Well, what's going to happen to what? The fear comes from what's going to happen to my body and these other loved ones' bodies, like my kids.
And then creating that fear and sickness and everything. I mean, well, creating the fear and anxiety is a part of you're creating sickness in your body.
Oh yeah, that definitely happens. And I think it happens at a lot of levels, right? That happens at a really superficial level, just fear and anxiety, releases cortisol, all the cortisol, the stress stuff in your body, which, beats you up, really, really can induce sickness and ulcers and all kinds of bad stuff.
It
But I
can
think
even cause cancer.
it can cause cancer. I know.
It can cause anything. I realized that too, that I had been so stressed out, and I was really thinking about our conversation we had on Monday of my mind's gonna draw a blank again. But just kind of soaking in the moment, like living in the moment. We keep thinking about the future, and what's the difference that they say between the past, present, and future? One's fear. Fear is the future.
Mm-hmm.
There's another saying that is the past, like you're upset with the past, like trauma or something like that. But
Regrets from the past, fears in the future. Yeah.
And it's how hard is it just to live in the present? It's very hard.
I know. I mean, I have all this
very
stuff
hard.
intellectually down pretty good where I talk about it, but for sure, I'm in the middle of exactly that, like this fear of what's going to work out, how are our needs going to be met, and I have no actual proof that I trusting in God's not going to work out. All my actual proof points to trusting in God always works out, always, and even better than it's going to work out eternally. I actually have proof that superficially, just my body is going to get taken care of. Not to mention, I'm not my body.
Yeah, we're two different things. Like we're attached, but we're just two different things. And
yeah, there's even less to worry about. But yet, why do I do it? Because it's a habit. This is the game we're playing, and it's the bigger game of who am I? Because if you think you are a body, well, then we're stuck in the rat race of achieving, protecting, back and forth. We protect, which means we're not present, we're not thankful, we're not content, or we're achieving or pursuing, which also means present. And oh, did someone come on? Oh, Soo's here.
oh.
So back and forth we go. All the while. Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Sorry, I thought I could take a quick shower.
Yeah,
I can't.
You're allowed. You're allowed to take a long shower.
Thank you.
I haven't even brushed my teeth yet. I literally just hopped downstairs. So
Yeah.
Good for you. Trying to achieve taking a shower.
No. So here we are. We're talking. We're in the manual for teachers, healing, how healing is accomplished, and the perceived purpose of sickness, and why we like to be sick. And it's actually sick in the head to think you are a body, or to think I'm a separate being in general, and to believe all the resources and things that I want in life are separate from me. And believe in a world where I have physical proof that my separation ideas are real. And so, here I am, I quit my job and I don't have the money that I wanted to have coming in, and the deals that I'm working on aren't closing. I have all the proof that separation is real. So what does that proof give me? Or Kristen has proof that she's separate from perfect health because she's still overcoming, in the process of overcoming cancer. And so she's got the proof that sickness is real. So why do we like sickness? Well, we like sickness because it proves that my separation is real. Because what could possibly get sick unless it's a real thing. It wouldn't, unreal things can't get sick and possibly die. Obviously it's real. And why is that valuable for us? It's valuable because it solidifies that our identity as a separate person is a real thing. Because if we lose that identity, it's exactly the same as annihilation. That's like even worse than dying. Annihilation is the worst. I mean, imagine getting annihilated. There's tons of, there's so many like sci-fi movies that's the worst, you know, that you could kill him, it's fine, but don't annihilate me. And you know, they'll add like the mix, like, and then your soul is annihilated too. It's the completely worst thing that the ego can possibly come up with. And so sickness and death and separation are cherished because it keeps us alive in existence. And that's what the upside down world is all about, because love and abundance and reality is all inclusive and all abundant, all encompassing. And if I were to fully accept it and let go of all my limitations, I would let go of this limited idea of separateness that is scarce with time. You know, that's where all of my interruption, our interruption conversation, Sue, all of my interruption conversation when I get frustrated with other people, it's because I think, well, there's a limited amount of time, right? Because I have a limited amount of time to do this accomplished thing. And this accomplished thing I need to accomplish, because if I don't, then my set life that I have determined is what I need won't happen. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack the intruder that's interrupting me. Get out of my office. All the while, what do I get? Well, I suffer along the way. I get frustrated with the people I'm with. I get scared about not being able to accomplish things I want to get accomplished. I get fearful that, you know, my body is not going to end up the way I want it to. I get fearful that the other people in my life I'm supposed to be taking care of and loved also aren't taken care of, also don't have healthy bodies, also don't have a good future. And I just end up in this circle of fear and separation that I've chosen, all for the sake of unknowingly survival. I think, well, this sucks, but it, you know, at least I know what to expect. It's a life. As opposed to what's the other source? Annihilation. And so the thing I fear the most above all else is not the bad stuff in life, but it's love. Because true love, at least according to a non-dual perspective, is complete abandonment to abundance with no limits, with no boundaries. And my life as I know it wouldn't exist anymore. That's scary. All right, verse 2, or do you want to say, either one of you want to add to that?
I feel like I'm just going to be rambling if I say something about that, but it's very true, because it's the same thing with, like, you know, am I going to have the perfect marriage? Am I going to be the perfect mom? And we have expectations, but what we are doing is feeding that, whatever you said earlier, into our system that's toxic and is causing sickness in our bodies. And again, just trying very hardest to live in the present, which I'm trying really hard to do, and thinking too much about the future. Like, what if I can't pay my rent in 6 months from now? I mean, who thinks of that? I guess I do. Maybe you guys do. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I get stressed out thinking, I'm not going to pay my rent in 6 months. What if I can't? What if I can't do this? What if I can't do that? When I should be just hanging out with my kids and not stressing and causing that harm on my body. But just being thankful for what I have and accepting what I have, being at peace with it.
Mm-hmm. Or at least maybe I am in the place where I don't know if I could actually change Jevon, because Jevon has his impetuous ways and set habits of being fearful, and it's really like the temperament. The Enneagram talks about all of our temperaments, and Jevon has his temperaments, and one of the things that he does is he has to keep accomplishing to feel value, and he's worthless if he stops. And I get that, and I'll force myself to stop, and I don't like it. But what if it's okay that Jevon does whatever he does? What if it's okay that the fear and the discontent and the limiting belief of value, Jevon, is unlovable without accomplishment? What if that's okay that the character Jevon believes that? And what if the character's script is written where that's kind of the script, right? What if the script of your particular character is the script? How do you get out then? Well, the only way to get out of that is to realize that you're not the character. You're not. That's not you running the script. That's the character. And your consciousness, which is more the real you, is enlivening that character. And so how do you separate your misery from that character if your character always wants to be miserable? Well, that's when you start to watch yourself. And so now we're starting to get into the metaphysical, and we're, the non-dual nature of this is that it's not you. There's nothing that needs to be changed. Everything is perfect. It's the movie. How could the movie go on without some drama? Why are you trying to take the drama out? No one's going to watch that movie. Once upon a time, there was a lovely person that married another lovely person, and they lived happily ever after. It's like, no one's going to watch that. Boring. But I love those, right? You're staying up late watching Yellowstone. Why do we love it? Why do we need to see the next episode? It's like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy that happened. What happens next? Can't get enough of this stuff.
We already know what's going to happen to the daughter. Oh my goodness. Trust me, like that's the second time I binge watched all of those.
Yeah.
Love them. I was like, oh my gosh, I just can't get enough.
Rewatch the drama. That's how much we love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good, but I don't want to live like that. I don't want that life. No, no, thank you.
That's the problem. You already have it. It's a different drama.
It's a different drama. Different drama. I wouldn't choose to do the Oregon Trail. I'll tell you that much. But
you don't get that one.
But
you get the one you got, which is rough.
Yeah, I already got a rough one. But that's. I mean, that is also something that I don't guess you portray that it happens. Like if you think about it enough, it happens. Like, do you make it real?
Yeah. Well, we can do as we want. And you had said before, you're like, hey, it's the simple things. Like I just think the best of it and move on and do the next thing. And everybody's doing the best they can, and those are kind of the same thing as watching yourself and realize that you're not that self. It's altering your perception, because your perception of you is your reality. And how fast can a perception change? It can change in an instant. Two people walk into the same party, and one person has a perception of this is the most horrible thing I've ever seen. A bunch of strangers. I'm terrified. They're looking at me. I feel funny. I don't know what to do with my hands in this social environment. It's awkward. And the other person's like, party. Woo, I'm so excited. Same party, two totally different experiences because of two different perceptions.
And then someone's got to kill the vibe.
Someone's kill the vibe.
You got the Debbie Downer that just showed up and doesn't know what to do.
Well, and then look, then someone comes in and kills the vibe, and then someone else in the party is like, oh my gosh, the Debbie Downer showed up. And then another person in the party sees the Debbie Downer shows up and it's like, oh, another introvert. I'm so excited to go and talk to them. because they can have deep conversations, and that's what I really want. I hate all these party people. So
But you're at the party.
I know I'm trapped at the party too. Another person trapped. I'll go get to that person and we'll run away together. I'm so excited. It's like, it's always different.
Yeah.
All right, verse 2. And what in this insane conviction does healing stand for? The conviction of I can be sick. What's it stand for? It symbolizes the defeat of God's Son and the triumph of his Father over him. It represents the ultimate defiance in a direct form, which the Son of God is forced to recognize. It stands for all that he would hide from himself to protect his life, in quotation marks. If he's healed, he is responsible for his thoughts. And if he's responsible for his thoughts, he will be killed to prove to him how weak and pitiful he is. But if he chooses death himself, his weakness is his strength. Now has he given himself what God would give to him, and thus entirely usurped the throne of his creator. Basically, it's saying we think that there is one life, and we're trying to avoid that one life because we want to be separate. And God has the one life, and for us to be separate, a separate thing apart from God, our own entity, our own separate, special entity, person, we have to take that one life from God, the one infinite wholeness. God itself is everything. So for us to be separate apart from everything, we literally have to take that life, so to speak. And if you separate wholeness, it's not whole anymore. And so in essence, you have to kill God. That's what it's saying. And if God wants to take your life from you, then this is the insanity of the ego, by the way, how it makes sense. It's so dumb. If you're taking God's life from him, then he's mad at you, actually. And so now you're battling with God. And the ego's like, hey, I'll help you hide from God because he's going to kill you for sure because you took his life, because you're separate, by the way. You are whole. You're your own person, fantasy, layers of fantasy. And the way to be separate from God is to project yourself and hide from him. So let's create, worlds and worlds and worlds and worlds and worlds. And so that's the universe, according to A Course in Miracles, is us projecting our awareness away supposedly from God, and we have created existence. Exist means to set apart from. That's what the Latin word, the root of Latin means from. You've set apart from. So now it exists over here. For something to exist, there has to be something, a main something, and then something else that's apart from it. That's the definition of existence. And so if you're not apart from something else, you don't exist. And that's what we're trying to uphold the whole time. We're trying to stay existing. We're trying to keep our person separate and special. But it's this separateness that keeps us suffering inevitably. I'm suffering because I don't have enough. Jevon isn't enough. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough love. I don't have enough acceptance. I don't have enough wholeness. I don't have enough love. I'll give you love. Nope, too much love. I need to keep a little bit of separation so I can stay alive. It's bonkers. What do you think, Sue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing too with my husband. Is like I constantly want cuddles. Like I'm a huge cuddler. I cuddle all the time. Always want to cuddle.
Yeah.
Even in bed, like he's got to have his arm out so I could sleep on top of his arm, like cuddle. But then sometimes it's okay. Get your arm out of my face. I'm done cuddling you. Yeah, like okay. Now he hasn't really been working that much, so he's home like probably 90% of the time. And I'm like, I haven't been home alone in a long time. I hate being home alone. But now I'm like, can I just have one day home alone
Mhm.
without like having to attend or make breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Any of that stuff. I mean, those are just the small things. I think it's what we're craving, but then we get too much of it.
Yeah, and why is that? The reason is we think that these external things are what we want. I think I want more money. Well, I get a ton of money. Well, now I'm scared of losing the money. And I have the same amount of uh
Anxiety.
discontent, and it shows up different ways, but
Anxiety, yeah.
anxiety, discontent, fear. I mean, it's all kind of the same stuff, and we label them differently. And it's the belief that it should be different. I should be different. It should be different. You should be different. And if I think that, it creates this discontent and this. It supports the reality that the base person is real, because if I'm suffering and I continue to search, the activity of searching, then it distracts from the reality that there is no person. It's not real. And that's why it's so difficult to, really get awakened, right? Enlightened, that whole idea, a spiritual idea of awakened, enlightened, and everything's wonderful. It's so hard because I don't want to give up my own striving. I love my striving. I don't want to give it up, because all I need to do to give it up is to, well, as a course calls it, is to forgive. And forgiveness is just letting go of all my judgments and ideas of what things are, all my perceptions. Because if I let everything go, everything would be okay as it is. It's like, okay, I'm stressing my hair out over money. What if I just stopped? Well, I would get kicked out of our house because I couldn't pay my bills. Like, okay, well, what happens then? I'd have to, I don't know, move in with my in-laws. Okay, well, what happens then? I'd have to listen to my in-laws all day long. Okay, what happens then?
And then you lose your mind and become a murderer.
Then I lose my mind and become a murderer.
And then you'll have somewhere to live and get fed all the time.
And I'll be in institutional prisons.
Solution.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
I mean,
I know. I was thinking the same thing the second you said in-laws. I was like, I would kill myself.
Life would go on. Like, oh, if I don't treat this cancer, what am I gonna do? Well, I'm gonna get sicker. Well, if I don't do anything, then what is gonna happen? I'm gonna die. Well, what happens then? I don't know. Yeah, go to heaven? Get reincarnated? It's like the thing is inevitable. Whatever it is that I'm fearful of, it's inevitable. All of us are gonna die. All of the rigmarole and accomplishments that I have, they're all gonna come to an end. But the key is, will I learn my lesson now? The Course in Miracles talks about how this and other spiritual ideas, other non-dual ideas especially, it's all about saving time. It's just saving time. Time is a construct to help us learn faster. And so what are we learning? The whole lesson revolves around letting go of my perceptions. My reality that I've made is not real. Well, most of our reality. My whole reality is construct, so I can stay separate and special. I can stay this separate me that's not real. And so it takes a ton of energy from me to be separate Jevon, for you to be separate Kristen, and for Soo to be separate Soo. And I have this whole universe made up, the power of my consciousness projecting this reality out, perceiving everything, making everything exist, pop up into existence, and then a bunch of comparison to keep it all there. I keep it all going for the sake of keeping myself separate. But the more I release that and just let everything be perfect, whatever it is with no perceptions, the more I'm free to be content. And that's what I think I'm trying to get anyway. I think all of my accomplishments, like trying to get healthier, trying to get healed, trying to get rich, trying to get loved, trying to get control, trying to get it right, all the stuff that I'm doing constantly, is to be happy, peaceful, content. But the reality is all that activity keeps me separate from it, because activity of pursuing is the idea that it is separate. I don't have it. Keeps me stuck in that state of mind, that resonance of separation. And that's everything. That's my life that I've created for myself, is the life of separation. And if I believe that I was already there, then I would be content. Well, if you think you want to be rich and then you make $1 million and then you think you're rich and then you feel content for a moment, what really happened? Like, if I'm sitting right here and I have $1 million cash in the bank, or I have 0 in the bank, by sitting right here, there's nothing different. I still have the same sweatshirt. I'm still talking to the same ladies. I'm still in the same Zoom. I'm still the same. Like, nothing has changed except for my idea of the quality of my life in this moment, right? In this very moment. And so my contentment is really, in that case, comes from releasing my idea of lack. My idea of I'm not whatever, and then I can be content. And so if that's true, and I think it's true, what do I need to do to be content? Nothing. In fact, everything I try to do, everything I try to change is the reason that keeps me from my own contentment. I'm preaching to myself, by the way. Part 2.
Well, that's true.
What were you gonna say?
I agree with you. I 100% think that's correct. Same thing with like being content. Am I content with my job? How I was saying earlier, like I'm over this. I want to do something else, but
Yeah,
I'm not stressing myself over it. Like, I'm not hurting my body. Well, okay, maybe physically, because I get cut with a chef knife sometimes or something like
and
that.
then nowadays, yeah.
But like I'm okay, and I'm taking my time to want to switch careers. And I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna stress myself and give myself anxiety over it. When it happens, it happens.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I mean, what else are we going to do? I mean, in reality, if you think you're in a body, you're going to be doing something. Not a lot of people will go sit in a cave and meditate. That's cool, but I mean, it's just not a common occupation for humans to completely give themselves to liberation. Usually we're doing stuff. And so do stuff. I mean, it's great to do stuff. The challenge is, can you do stuff without stressing your brains out?
Yeah.
I relate to my activities as necessary. I forget like almost instantly. And so, can I do stuff without being attached to the outcome? It becomes fun. That is a fun thing. It's kind of like playing a game with my kid, or a game with my wife. I play games with my wife. Carolyn is very competitive, and she gets so mad at me when I beat her. And so, but I want to play with her because I think it's fun. And so I'm actually super glad when she starts to win. And sometimes I'll alter my playing a little bit so that I don't beat her too bad if I am, right. And so then there we go. I'm playing a game that I'm actually happy to lose. Okay, that's interesting. Because usually the rest of my life, I'm not playing that way. Like, I'm playing a money game and I need to get all the money. And if I don't, then I'm mad or sad or anxious or fearful or angry, or because I'm attached to this particular outcome of I need this. But my other game with Carolyn, whatever happens, I'm totally content because I want to play with her. It's like it's the playing that I wanted to do, not the outcome. Can I do life that way? I mean, theoretically.
Yeah.
If I did, it would be much more peaceful.
It's the same thing with my husband and I. We play chess all the time, and he beats me every single time.
Oh my God.
I never win at chess, and sometimes we'll sit there, and it's the strategy just goes on forever. But once he takes that queen away, I'm like, I give up.
You're cooked.
I'm like, well, you already took my queen away. What else am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I could still keep going, but like I don't get frustrated over it so much,
Yeah.
but it's fun. Like you know, you're keeping yourself busy, or you know, like your mind's focused on something simple like a game, instead of sitting on the couch and getting frustrated over life and how you're going to come up with your $1 million.
I know. That's it. All right. So the shift, part 2. Healing must occur in exact proportion to which the valueness of sickness is recognized, which it presupposes that you understand the value that we put on being sick and being separate. 2, one need but say, there is no gain at all to me in this, and he is healed. But to say this, one must first recognize certain facts. First, it is obvious that decisions are made of the mind and not the body. If sickness is but a faulty problem-solving approach, it is a decision. And if it is a decision, it is the mind and not the body that makes it. The resistance to recognizing this is enormous, because the existence of the world as you perceive it depends on the body being a decision maker. Terms like instincts, reflexes, and the like represent attempts to endow the body with non-mental motivators. Actually, such terms merely state or describe the problem. They do not answer it. What it's saying is, we think that the decision maker is the body or the personality, but the decision maker of perception, how we perceive the world, is actually not the body or the personality. So for me, that means that this body is not deciding to be healthy or not, and the personality of Jevon, the separate personality that is kind of stuck in his script that was born and will die, is also not the decision maker. So, or even the thinker. So then that begs the question, well, who's deciding what I'm perceiving and who's thinking my thoughts? If it's not me, that's crazy just to think that. And the answer is that there is a decision maker, and that decision maker chose either is one of 2 choices, according to this non-dual teaching. It chose love, completeness, acceptance, or it chose and wholeness, or it chose separation, fear, guilt, shame. And the separation, fear, guilt, shame built a world of separation so that you can be separate. And so in any moment, I have 2 choices. The decision maker has 2 choices. And in order to free myself from the world of separation, fear, guilt, shame, which is the physical world, I have to choose forgiveness, which is letting go of all of it. It's very hard to do, because my instincts, my body instincts, everything revolves around keeping the body and you separate, even in the best situations of love, hallmark love. It's all about, we're separate. You know, you complete me because you are part of it and I am part of it, and together our 2 separate, we're now whole, which means that you got to keep giving me what I need, and if you don't, well, then you're cut. Yeah, hallmark bastards. 2, the acceptance of sickness as a decision of the mind for a purpose for which it would use the body is the basis of healing. So basically, you're just saying, "Oh, I chose sickness," and this is so for healing in all forms. A patient decides that this is so, and he recovers. If he decides against recovery, he will not be healed. Or who is the physician? Only the mind of the patient himself, not the personality. The personality is not the mind. The mind is like the thinker. We actually all share one mind. The outcome is what he decides that it is. Special agents seem to be ministering to him, yet they do not give form to his own choice. He chooses them in order to bring tangible form to his desires. And it is this they do and nothing else. They are not actually needed at all. The patient can merely rise up without their aid and say, I have no use for this. And there is no form of sickness that would not be cured at once. I've watched a bunch of healing documentaries. I think that they're always very interesting. And one of the things I've seen over and over again is people are like, I didn't know what to do, so I just decided to, just live my best life and be happy all the time. I watched comedies and comedians constantly, and my only thing that I did was, just be happy, and whatever was going to happen was going to happen. And it doesn't mean that your body's not going to progress in its whatever's going on. But there's a bunch of stories where people just got healed. Like the thing went away. What's happening then? Well, according to the Course, everything that we are up against that is unsettling for us, that bothers us, right? Not bothers other people, not like your parents being, you need to accomplish more, or whatever. A loved one saying, you need to go to do this medical treatment that Western society says is important, and you need to do it for me. That kind of stuff happens. But if you have a place of peace within yourself, it doesn't matter whether you do the thing or not. But if you've released the fear of an outcome you're not willing to accept, you've actually embraced every outcome: death, poverty, rejection, being wrong, looking bad, all those things. If you embrace it as like, it's fine, everything is going to be fine, it's going to be perfect, I completely trust that God's going to take care of me. I actually don't know my own best interests. I'm completely aware that I don't know my own best interests. I'm just going to watch this crazy life. Like in my case, I'm going to watch the crazy drama of Jevon from the theater. I'm going to watch the screen of this crazy character with Jesus. I want to hang out with Jesus. He's always peaceful. And whatever happens, happens. And I'm going to do whatever's there in front of me. But I don't need any particular outcome. And I'm just going to be at peace. And I want to pay attention to the people around me, because, wow, how interesting this life is. It's actually very entertaining. And I want to open up, and I want to be present with whoever I'm with and whatever I'm doing. And if I'm working at a coal mine, I want to be present digging that hole. I want to feel the shovel in my hand. Oh man, it feels like so gritty. I'm going to smell the smells in the coal mine. I'm going to think, oh, look at that canary just died. That's probably bad. How interesting.
That's random.
Canary in a coal mine, they actually die first because of the gas. Anyway.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the ways that before carbon monoxide detectors.
Oh my gosh, I learned something new today. Another new thing today.
Another new thing.
Another new thing. That's interesting. Huh.
So
I know we're at our time.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
I know we're out of time, but at some point I want to get back to the whole instincts and reflexes and how they're really decisions of the mind. But I always thought those instincts and reflexes, like what the body does, they're kind of more like the body has its own intelligence, and it's more of like a flow with the universe that began at the Big Bang, all of like the causes that lead the body to do things are kind of separate from our mind and decisions. But
there is, but when you're talking about non-dual teaching, you're talking about the source of it, and the source of the universe is the mind. Now
that mind.
Yeah, the one mind. But the universe does have a an intelligence of its own. But also just know that just like what's it called? It's called uptoptophy or something, programmed cell death. Like our cells in our body, a lot of them will willingly give their life and die. Sometimes seemingly healthy cells will just give up their life and die for the sake of the whole organism being healthy. And the moment that a cell, when it would be healthier for the body, when the moment the cell doesn't die, when its programming says it should die, well, that is a cell that's called cancer. And that cell says, I'm not gonna live for the sake of the whole. I'm actually going to just live for myself, and I'm going to replicate and try to, preserve my own identity. So we call that sickness and cancer, and it comes from that, attachment, basically the attachment to do what I want as opposed to the whole. And so, for sure, you can listen to your body, you can listen to your gut, which is a separate mind, and it is less attached to your ego. But a lot of times it's time to die. And so, our mind, our ego mind, it's like, no, I got that message. I know that would probably be better for on the long run, but I'm going to go ahead and reject that. That's our problem, is we have these attachments that we think are just, it might be painful, but I'm doing it anyway.
I must.
Yes, for my own survival. And so it's enter the craziness, right? Because I can do that in a conversation about being right about some fact about the Civil War, and I treat it like it's my own survival, and I'm yelling at some stranger because they say I'm wrong. It's crazy. I can be crazy about things, and I just label it as I must for my survival, and that's what the ego does. But none of it's true. And so what can I give up? Well, I give up all of it. And how do I know it's time to give up something? When it feels anything but like love or abundance and contentment and, this wonderful feeling of openness. As soon as I feel that closiness, that protection, that attack, that correction, that defensiveness, that explanation, all that stuff that feels more like this, like I need to fix it. That is my cue to forgive it and let it go. For my sake, for my own growth. Because if you don't, it's fine. Yeah. All right. Anything else before we get off?
No, I think I'm good for now. I'm gonna go wake my kids up and make breakfast and do my thing.
Get to it, Kristen. All right, ladies.
All
God
right.
bless you. Thanks for meeting with me.
Yes, have a
Likewise.
good weekend.
You too.
Okay, bye.